Hey, Mark Baker here, just doing a little video on property winterization. I get a ton of questions, especially from new home buyers, about what they need to do to get their property ready for the colder months. So I'm doing a renovation on a property right now. I thought this would be a good opportunity to show you some of the things that I do. First of all, you want to make sure that all of your leaves, pine cones, pine needles, all those things are cleaned up and raked up. Just want to make sure those aren't sitting underneath the snow for a number of months. Next item that you want to take care of is your gutter extensions and tip outs. There aren't any on here. We'll be putting those on, but we want to make sure that any of the water that comes down the gutter system pushes out from the foundation wall 4 to 5 feet at least. Talking about gutters, we want to make sure that any leaves and debris are out of those gutter systems. What we don't want to have happen is the water back up, freeze, and then it creates what's called a water dam and pushes back into that roofing system, and that's when you start to get your leaks inside of a house. The next item that you'll want to take a look at is just making sure that any cracks along the concrete or along the house are all sealed up, so you can get certain types of sealant and caulk. Just make sure that the water's not getting down into there, freezing, and then expanding so that it pushes into the house and causes greater cracks. Sorry for all the trash and debris. Like I said, we're doing a renovation, so that's all part of the game. This isn't really a winterization item, but as you get into the holiday months, it's always good to just add a little extra security by throwing a lock on here. So you'll see there's a number of holes right here. So there was a satellite system here that we removed and left the holes there. What we want to do is sand those down, fill those with sealant, and then paint back over them so that there's no water intrusion issues. Here's an example of an AC disconnect, air conditioning disconnect. Some of them you pull out. This one's just a switch on off. So we've got that in the off position, and then we've got some siding that had some issues. Actually, what it was the gutter up top was pitch strong, and it was pushing the water down into the house rather than out and away from the house. So we ripped off all of the damaged siding, and what we're going to do now, once we finish up the last couple pieces, is seal those up and paint over them. Again, just making sure that you're cleaning up the yard of all the leaves and debris. Here we've got some exposed wood, and then on the door we replaced the door because the seal wasn't good. It was letting a lot of air in. You just want to, and then there along the trim there was a lot of exposed wood because the paint's peeling. So what we're going to go through and do here is make sure that now that all the rotted wood is replaced, repaint the deck, and repaint the trim anywhere on the house where the water could get in, expand, and then start to rot out that wood. So we've got a hose bib here. The hose bibs on most properties have an antifreeze device on them, which is really great. You don't have to do anything with those. The problem is if you leave a hose on, then the residual water within that hose can freeze and then freeze up into the house, and that's when you have an issue. So as long as you disconnect the hose in the winter months, then you should be fine. Really the biggest and most important to this whole video is the backflow preventer. So these are all a little bit different. Some of them are more complicated than others. Have somebody come. You can usually have somebody come for $35 and have them blow them out and drain them out. That's the most important part, because otherwise you're talking about some pretty big costs if that freezes. So if you have any questions, give me a call. Always happy to help.